Hello and welcome into another Chi Time, your conscious living show with me, Clara Apollo, here on UK Health Radio. So Chi Time really is your wake-up call to vitality, and it opens conversations about your personal energy and where you can gain more natural Chi from and where perhaps you need to rest and replenish. So on this episode, I've invited back in Barefoot Doctor, because he just always going on about Chi. So I thought he's going to be the perfect guy to ask, what is Chi to? So if you haven't come across Barefoot Doctor before, he has been on this arena stage for many, many, many years. He's what I describe as an elder now, becoming an elder Taoist master. He's a prolific writer, and he's produced many, many books, which you can all find out more about on his website, which is waywardpublications.com. And but behind the scenes, he not only did he used to teach Tai Chi, but he also is a skilled acupuncturist. And he's a really top-notch music producer, because he likes to weave all these healing sounds and bring Taoist wisdom in as well. I know, it's just proper magic. So what I thought we'd do is, before we get him on to chat about Chi, I'll play a track of his. So the one I've chosen is called Wonderful Happiness. And this was released last year, 2018, to herald the release of his Amped volume. So Amped being an affirmation manifestation procedure, electronically delivered. And he's had 2 volumes so far. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the 3rd volume coming up. But the first volume was about manifestation, the second one about magic, and this 3rd one is going to be about miracles. So they're all amazing, by the way. And if you want to find out more, head over to barefootdoctorworld.com. But let me give you a little taster here of some Barefoot Doctor magic. So put on your headphones, because they are multi-layered, really. They are really worth listening to through good quality headphones or fantastic speakers. And enjoy this uplifting track by Barefoot Doctor called Wonderful Happiness. And we'll come back with him and chat some more after this gorgeous Chi vibed music.
Beautiful life, amazing love, wonderful happiness.
Welcome back to Chi Time, Barefoot Stephen. How are you doing?
Well, how are you?
Very good, very good. Here at the beginning of the year we are, 2019, and there's so much going on. It feels like, I was trying to have a retreat, and it's really difficult when there's a lot going on. So I've been looking at how to have parts of my day in retreat. I don't know about you. Do you manage to have some retreat time in your busyness?
The way that the Taoist thing works is that you learn to draw back constantly and sit in the back. So you basically are in the retreated position all the time. So that whatever drama is occurring in front of you is just that, and you're not part of it. But you can interact with it with effectiveness. You can inject love and qualities into it and make things happen in it without actually being involved in it in the same way. So there's a lot of that. And then, I do my training every morning up on the roof. That's like an hour and a half of you know, whatever you call it. It's not constant, not no thought. I'm thinking, but it's very beautiful thinking. It feels nice, and it makes me fit and feel good. So that's a retreat time. You know, yeah, you know, when I'm not working and I go and eat, that's like a retreat. Yeah.
That's a real treat, eating. But no, you're absolutely right, to have practice time and to have this approach of being, as you say, in the back of you, just being aware that you're the observer. But actually, you're quite infamous for teaching us all of that kind of perspective.
Infamous.
Yeah.
Infamous.
Yeah. But here on Chi Time, here on UK Health Radio, Barefoot Doctor, I'm going to ask you what could be seen to be as a really simple question, but I think it's one that is at the root of absolutely everything, because it's to do with our chi, and that is, what is chi?
Oh man, I mean, look, I could tell you a million different ways. What is chi? If you're watching this, you put your hands up like this, and you very gently start to concertina them. You see they're kind of coming out, going in, and coming out, going in. After a while, around about now, kind of, yeah, you feel a sort of magnetic sensation in the fingertips and the palms, and that increases as they kind of pull away from each other, and that is chi. That's what it is. That's what it feels like. That's what chi feels like when you concertina your hands. However, chi is also, it moves through your body through a sequence of what they call meridians, which are like channels, energy pathways. You could say lines of tension, actually. And it's life force running through you, which you don't feel. What you do feel from it is you feel well. You feel like you've got life running through you, and that will overcome the symptoms and the pains and what have you. It gives you a feeling of well-being strong enough that the symptoms and the things that irk you don't irk you, so you can carry on, and they become secondary, and then they heal better that way, presumably. Eventually it doesn't work and you die, of course, but you don't necessarily feel that chi as chi. You don't necessarily feel it coursing through you, but then there's a whole system of Taoist, they call it internal alchemy, which is Negun, the inner Qi Gun, the kind of inner working on the Qi, where you consciously, actively, using your mind and the breath, you breathe the Qi down the arm, for example, and then back up the arm. And then you breathe it around the body in a series of prescribed loops, which activate various qualities in your character and various kind of resources, internal resources that you have, like your strength, your courage, your integrity, your determination, your surrendering, your whatever. Well, in fact, all of it. And ultimately, somehow, through this internal alchemy, create, or rather access you into what they call your immortal spirit body. This is the part of you that does sit in the back. It's the part of you that is watching the story of your life as it unfolds without actually being involved in it, as I was describing before. This is the part of you that it's like the original self that was there in the womb. Obviously, it's been there all the time. And at the first moment of self-awareness, that was what was aware. And it doesn't age like the body does. It's not affected by the yin and the yang of daily life, the ups and the downs, the dark and the light. It just is. It just sits. It observes. If you could call it the Tao watching through you, if you like. And anyway, but that's the point of doing it. That's like the ultimate point, because the reason being that when you die, presumably, I mean, you can't prove it till you do it, there is no kind of confusion as you go through the transition, so that you're able to take advantage of what must be the most important passage of your whole life, your exit. And they say then that you're able to, your consciousness goes on, and you poetically described as riding the backs of the golden dragons through the seven celestial spheres. But basically nobody obviously knows what happens after that from this perspective anyway. But what it does do is it gives you this sense of eternality in your daily life. I'm going slightly off the point, But in this practice, when you're moving the chi, then you can feel it. It doesn't feel quite like that one. It feels more like a going through you. And then there's the chi when you do, say, a distant healing on somebody. So, or you're wanting to manifest something that isn't in your immediate realm. Your object of intention is this person becoming well. So you send the visualization of them, becoming well, and that is sent in a packet of chi, in a stream of chi, and you can feel that as like an effluence from you, like pouring out from your heart, really. And that's got another quality to it. And then there's the chi of the heart, for example, when, I love being, and I do love being alive. I love this. You're in a moment where you go, I love this. I feel such appreciation for being alive. What a miracle this is. That's the heart chi, the beauty, the love, the obedience of the spirit. I could, yeah. And then there's the sexual chi, of course. So like when the chi is moving through the lower part of the body and you're turned on for whatever complex of reasons, you feel that turn on, the physical kind of, not physical, well, it is physical, isn't it? The energetic, shall we say, sensation turn on, you're aroused. Well, that's chi as well. That's chi expressing itself through that. And then you've got perseverance chi, which isn't very dramatic, but it's like when you've got a massive job to do and you've got to sit there and just do it and do it and do it. It takes a lot of willpower to say, I can do this. Just don't panic. You can do it. Just keep going. You'll do it, which I'm up against most of the time, actually, a lot of the time. There's a chi. The chi pulls you through that. You're riding it like you're a very subtle serpentine flow. And I just want to say one more thing. I know I really talked for a long time on just one question here. This is a beautiful metaphor, though. They talk about the dragon chi and the tiger chi. I think it's a nice one to resolve this little bit of conversation with. The dragon chi equates to the area of your kidneys and lower belly, and the tiger chi equates to the heart area. And the idea is that the dragon is this serpentine, kind of has this serpentine motion. It flows like that. That's the yin. That's the supportive, destructive energy. And you're riding on the back of the dragon. You're riding on the back of the dragon. And you actually are a tiger. And every now and again, like a cat, you're a cat. You don't do anything until you need or want to. Cats don't. They just sit in repose, perfectly relaxed. But when required, rah, they suddenly burst into action. That's the tiger energy. If you meditate, if you're watching this and you like that idea, you meditate on the idea of riding on the back of a dragon and this beautiful kind of sensation of flow, and you are a tiger in repose, ready at any moment to burst into action when required. And that would be considered, a viable template for the best use of your chi. How was that?
Brilliant. That was brilliant. I just, asking Barefoot Doctor about chi, and you did it in about 9 minutes. So I think that was superbly succinct, really, with lots of different varieties. But to people listening or watching, that experience of chi, as you were describing, to me, it's this underpinning vitality that animates us all in different ways. And that sense you have of that, the concertina, that's a quality, an experience. And then there's also the tingles that shoot up and down the arms and up and down the legs or whatever. And then there's the subtle kind of ebb and flow up and around the small heavenly circulation. And when did you? What was it that first alerted you to chi? What was it? Yeah, what happened there?
It started when I was 11, and I started studying Aikido with Tira Honsai in London. I remember the first thing with it because I was a problem child in many ways at boarding school. I ruled the roost, and I was a terrorist, essentially, whatever you want to call it, a gangster, and I wouldn't let anyone cross me. I just ruled it. That was my thing. And I was very popular, and I'm very good at the stuff, the academic stuff. But I didn't want to succumb to the regime. I had to create my own one. And I had a benign gang called SWIFT, Society of Welfare Intelligence forbidding tyranny. It was based on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I don't know what that really meant, but it was an idea you stood for justice and for the right, you know. So help people who are in trouble and all that kind of nonsense. Well, nonsense, you know. But I was also very nice with it because I used to say, "Are you all right? What are you feeling?" But kids didn't do that in those. They never asked each other, "Hey, do you feel scared? Are you, you know, all that stuff." So there was an interesting. I had a simpatico with people. Anyway, it was either getting expelled or my dad came up with the idea because a friend of his was doing it, study Aikido. And the guy, he's a healer that was brought over to England to treat people in Harley Street, you know, back in the early mid-60s. And he was an old guy, a little old guy. And basically the conversation was kind of, so you rate yourself as a fighter, do you? He didn't actually say that, but that was the kind of the vibe. Punch me in the stomach. And I can't punch an adult, you know, like it's an adult. You don't punch an adult in the stomach, grown up. And I just froze and he goes, punch! So I did a half-hearted, polite kind of little punch into his belly, because he's an old guy, right? And he goes, punch! Like that. I go, bang, like that. Oh, my mind, I go, poof, like that. And nothing. There was nothing there. It was like punching air. And I just, like that. And he goes, key, super key. So I was hooked at that moment on. That basically, I want that. I've got to do that trick.
So you get used to the martial perspective of it. Really beckons you in. Then that intrigue, that curiosity, there's something else here. And
yeah, it still does. I mean, I forgot to say the most important one of all for me, because when I'm fighting, when I'm practicing fighting, you know, where I'm doing my forms, it's all about getting the body to loosen up, to go like that, for the chi to come through. It's not strength. You can see I'm not like a brawny guy. You're not using strength, you're using chi, like that. And it's amazing, amazing feeling. You know, I don't do this out of violence anymore. I do it with friends for fun. Just say, you know.
Yeah. Oh, the chi is rising here.
The side of me I rarely talk about or show, my excitement about I love martial arts. I never talk about that. I'm always so discreet about it. So I don't think you should talk about it, really. You know,
should? What kind of word is that? You talk about whatever wants to come through. The chi is informing you, and that. What is so fascinating about chi is that it is invisible, and yet it's like the silent language that underpins everything.
It's the Tao in motion, like the presence informing everything, moves to create everything, to keep everything in creation, and in its movement, that's the chi. So yeah, it's invisible and ubiquitous, and it's throughout the universe. The whole universe is chi, basically. Yeah. Quantum physicists say the same thing, of course.
And what's that about the law of thermodynamics, that is like energy and matter cannot be destroyed, it can only change form, and yet with the Chinese theory of like you're bequeathed a certain amount of original chi when you're born, and then when you use it up you die. It's like, well, how does that work if it can't be destroyed? Or
well we have to be able to differentiate between the various kinds of chi, and that's called ancestral chi, and it's the chi that runs through the stream of DNA that you carry for the amount of time that you're meant to be on the planet, and it has a sort of a lifespan. Like your DNA has got codes in it. It's the energy of the DNA, I guess, and you get a certain amount at birth, and the faster you use it up through profligate sex or bad breathing or crazy thinking, the faster you're going to die. I.e., you've got sort of like 1,000, you know, whatever it is, 1,000,000 breaths, and you've got to do them slow so that you're here for longer. I mean, it's to do with your DNA. It's a particular kind of chi stored in the kidneys. It's what you inherit. It's like it's what's been passed down your ancestral line, and it will have the same. It's like congenital conditions. It's all about that. It's what you inherit from your ancestors. That's why there is something you can do about it. In theory, it's something I practice. That you're meant to heal your ancestors out of linear time, transtemporally, back in time, or in retrospect, heal your ancestors every day. You send them healing. I do it every day, and it's I pay lip service to it most days, but every now and again you get a proper hit of it, and you feel then receiving the energy, being healed, and then that transmitting itself through linear time from then back to you now to sort of rearrange your own DNA. That is one of the practices that extends the duration of the ancestral chi. But it's not a conflict. No, it's not. It's just that particular chi, which is your particular little brand of it. It's something like that much in a bottle, and then when that bit runs out, you return to the every chi.
Oh, that's really interesting. Thank you. I mean, there was that concern of like, when you use your chi up, you die. Oh, what can I do? Well, you've just given us a very practical example about what you can do. And also you can gather chi from nature and from the cosmos and from your food and from your air.
Yeah, that's it. There's the environmental chi, the chi you get from the environment, from breathing, from gravity, from air pressure, from everything around you, people, food, experiences, everything. That gives you chi, and you process that through the physical energetic body, like the meridians. But the soul chi is this ancestral chi. It's the chi that keeps your soul with your body while it's meant to be there. That's nothing to do with the environment, but the more you process good energy from around you, the less pull you have on the ancestral. Does that make sense? So in other words, the fitter you keep yourself, the more relaxed you are, the more like a child you are playing in the garden of life rather than a sort of uptight, resistant adult. The less strain you put on the system, the less you use up your ancestral chi, and therefore the longer you live. Yeah, in theory.
In theory. And also the more relaxed you are physically, the more the chi can flow smoother around the meridians and therefore keep you healthful, which is what it's all about. So cool. How about that difference between, or maybe there's not a difference between, but a question that I have for you about Wu Wei, effortless manifesting, and setting your intention so the Tao knows what you want it to do?
Well, Wu Wei implies the kind of the great flow of events. And what informs the great flow of events is this presence we call Tao, or you can call it God, if you, it doesn't matter what you want to call it, it's just a name. This mysterious presence that we embody when we're embryos in the womb, the consciousness and energy of it, life, you know, we embody this miracle of consciousness. This is the Tao. And it's what's informing the flow of events. It's what's informing every detail of every event, of every situation. When you are in your back and you're aware of it, and you're talking to it, wherever it is, whoever it's in yourself, in the chair that's sitting that's opposite you, in the wall, in the people walking past, all of it down, you see the Tao in everyone. You become like a collaborator with it. Automatically, somehow, it wants you to direct it. Once you get involved, it kind of says, well, what do you want to do then? What do you feel like doing? And you only need to tell your needs for your own sake, just to clarify in your own head, because kind of it knows what you need. It's obvious that you need to be supported in what you're doing. But it somehow requires you to get involved in and participate in that by saying, you know, like, yeah, man, I need money to come in now. I need help in this situation. I need a lucky break here, or I need a miracle to shift the dialogue in this situation, whatever it is. You know? I need healing, and whatever it is, you say it, because then you're involved in it, and then it brings it to you as long as you stay back and relax and don't care whether it brings it or it doesn't, because you have to come from the place that you have it all already. You already have everything you need in this moment, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be here. You'd have kind of kicked off somewhere. But the fact that you're here proves you have everything you need in this moment. Then if you can, like, therefore wish for it to be exactly as it is, you are therefore supporting the Tao, supporting the great flow of events rather than resisting it. And when you support it, it supports you. So it's like, I have everything I need. This is beautiful. And if it kind of works, you know, for the best, that I now also have blah, 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 I agree to that. I'll go along with that. Thank you very much. And sure enough, one way or another, through the most elegant and circuitous routes often, you will find yourself suddenly with all the things that you said that you needed at that point. I'm not sure that's the clearest exposition of it. There are times, however, where you do need it, you can feel it, you need to specify. It's like I've got a job to do, excuse my language, I've got a job to do, right, I've got, this is a big one, and I need a da-da-da. I need to get this thing in it. Right, I need to get a thing in it. Okay, focus, bring that in. You have to do that sometimes because it's required. But most of the time, the gracious way and the way that gives the Tao its head so it can perform the best for you without limitation is to just to wish for it to just continue as it is, with maybe an emphasis on more freedom or more health or more joy or more whatever it is you feel that you want, just more of all the beauty that's already happening. And for everything to just evolve with utmost elegance for you and for everybody, because it's really important that you realize because we're just talking about doing magic here, that your actions, your magic will affect everybody around you. The miracles you do will have an effect on everyone, because you don't live in isolation. And it's hard to predict, impossible in fact, to see how that can work. So you constantly have to keep avowing that everything that happens as a result of me doing whatever I'm doing, my miracles I'm performing, it happens for the highest good and by the free will of everyone. And you just got to keep saying it. Everything happens for the highest good and by the free will of everyone. And somehow, if you just keep saying that, it becomes what happens. So that if you were going to do something that was a bit dodgy and wasn't really going to be for the good, you just wouldn't do it. You wouldn't think about not doing it. It just wouldn't happen. Or the situation that you thought you might get tempted to do something that might not be that great won't occur. It's like that. Or you'll find yourself having a conversation you were terrified to have quite spontaneously and not caring. It just happens, that sort of thing. So, best if you can always just keep it open like that. But sometimes, you have to stick your oar in.
I love that. So it's trusting the truth of your chi, and that chi is the currency of the Tao.
Yeah, Tao in motion,
Tao in motion, exactly. But chi also, we opened up this episode of Chi Time with your track, Wonderful Happiness. And we haven't as yet actually mentioned the chi flowing through the sound that you produce and the affirmation manifestation procedures electronically delivered that you're actually becoming now famous for. And so the chi that runs through sound and the healing qualities of sound, I think we're going to, and there's a little bit of sound carpet we're going to stop playing at just about now, so that listeners can have a taste of what you do, and then we'll play out with a track. But when did you start getting into music, and why are you so obsessed with producing these wonderful pieces?
Well, it's better than watching telly, isn't it? My dad was a jazz musician, and I remember when I was born as a baby in a cot, just knowing that I had certain skills from before. I remember it really clearly, and rhythm was one of them. So I could hold a basic beat from, I knew I could do it as well, right? By the age of 2, I was drumming a sort of like bam, bum, 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 bum that kids do, And then my dad taught me, mummy, daddy, and paradiddles, left, right, left, right, that stuff. And then rolls and accented rolls. And he loved jazz. He was a jazz drummer and loved Latin American. My cousin was Stan Getz, who wrote Girl from Ipanema, a great sax player. I've got it in my blood, basically, music. It's in my blood. That's in everyone's blood, I think. But so then my mum had my sister when I was 4, and as a consolation prize for not having all the attention, which I didn't get all the attention anyway, they bought me a little guitar, and that was it. That was it. Bye, everybody. And there I was. And then I had a brilliant music teacher at my boarding school. I was 7 when I went there. I elected to go there, by the way. What kind of weird kid elects to go to a boarding school? No, it's like they teach you.
You're an escapee. You just needed to travel and escape and see the world. So
but little did I know that where I escaped to, I just wanted to escape from. All I used to think every night, how do I escape from this place? But he was an amazing teacher, and he taught us how to listen and how to listen to an orchestra and what bits and all of it. But he taught me some really useful bits of guitar. And I then had a band at school, but by the time I was 10, I was writing the tunes, and it was good. It was quite good, actually. And he was our producer, so to speak. And then it just went on from there. I always had bands. And went to live with the Native Americans when I was in my early 20s for 4 years, and it was all about the drumming, because I'm a drummer, you know, as well as guitarist and keys. I play a lot of instruments, but it's the drums. And then I got this idea. Wow, can you imagine getting like 100 people, 1,000 people with drums, and you lead them with a kind of a big drum off, you know, rig, and they all follow. And that's what I did. I came back to England and I started doing drum offs. I mean, I couldn't stick to it. It would have been great if I would have done, because it would have been massive by now. I got up to 1,000 people all together with drums. But then I started writing background music to it, you know, frequencies basically, like sounds, because I was very tuned to that, always sound, like sound. And I got so involved in the studio, I think, why do I need to put myself through the hell of 1,000 people with their clattering drums and that noise if I can sit here and make beautiful music? And that was the end of the drum thing.
Right, so like technology really helps you, didn't it? Because it gives you so much at your fingertips, and you can really play with all these different sounds, frequencies and modulations, and it's so exciting.
It is heaven. It's heaven. I mean, I have to say, it doesn't matter how brilliant you are as a producer, and I do think I have my moments at times. If it wasn't for these unbelievable geniuses who created all these plugins and this, they are, I mean, I don't know how it's like another universe to me. I have such respect for them. I mean, I know it's all very simple if you know what you're doing, but it's beyond me. But it's amazing. You know how to use it. Wow, you can do. I mean, I used to spend 2 or 3 days in the studio in the old days creating a drone, one drone. And it would be all, you know, different layers of double basses. I'd get a double bass player in, you know, to do it, because you didn't have all this stuff then. And me and all kinds of stuff. And it used to get okay, but I can get a good drone in like minutes now. I mean, like if that, you know, because I've got them all, you know, all my stuff anyway. But the frequencies, yeah, I got into that really quite quickly. That was in about 1985. I did a thing called First Orbit. And it was basically a frequency designed for 40 minutes to meditate to. And it worked really well. It did really well. And you know, then it was just a matter of building. The idea is I always wanted to do music to heal people. And frequencies are healing, because the whole thing works on sound. If you know more or less what you're doing with them, because you can feel where to send them in the body, how to move, you know, the frequency, you can move them around the body. I've been doing it for decades, and you know, it works. And then the thing was, but how to keep this but give it some groove, how to keep this but make it entertainment as well, so that I can express all the different tempos and genres of music that I love, you know. Otherwise it gets a little bit you know,
you've got to have the variety, haven't you? And you have produced 2 volumes of Amp so far. I think there's already a Chi Time about Amped 1, which you can listen to on SoundCloud, on my Clara Apollo's Chi Time SoundCloud, and you've got the Amp 2 that's out as well. But you're just poised to bring through Amp 3, which is about magic and miracles.
No, it's called the Miracle. See, the first one's manifesting. The second one, the emphasis is on magic, being a magician. The third one is the miracle. And it's deep. I mean, this is proper heavy. I'm telling you, it's proper heavy, really heavy. I mean, it's the deepest you can go in an entrainment to take somebody into the most profound state you can possibly imagine. And it works. It does it. It's deep. I'm serious. But lovely. It's not heavy. I mean, say it's heavy. It's not. Yeah. It's beautiful, but it's proper heavy. You know, it's the real thing. And it's the volumes to build up. You know, 1, 2, 3. This is now. Ideally, if you'd done the first 2 before this one, but if you've never done any of it before, it's amazing. The music. I know I shouldn't go on. It's so ridiculous. But the it's pretty lovely. I mean,
it is pretty lovely.
Yeah, working on the vocals at the moment, because I'm editing. They're all recorded. It's 6-7 hours actually of a lot of vocals, complex, and I've gone halfway through. I've got to finish them in the next 2 or 3 days, the editing, and then I lay each one into the tracks. And in all that time, as I'm working on them against the tracks that they're all going to go in, it's like, wow, this music's good, man. It's like, wow, this is good music. It's really great. It's great.
Excited again. Woo! Excited about your sounds.
But it's not just that. I've got a thing. There's going to be a small thing called the Miracle Primer that's going to be done for them as well. And then straight after all that comes the Amp Motivator, which is all about motivation. and it's really beautiful, but uplifting. Kind of like I'm doing it because I love it, rather than I've got to, you know. So there's a lot of that. And then there's going to be app particulars, which are going to be meditations for healing, for confidence, for whatever. And then there's going to be there's the apt immersives, which are the pure sound baths. And then there's going to be apt microdoses, which are going to be shortcuts with very simple repeated. Like I say, it feels really good to be here. I say it feels really good to be here. It feels really good to be here, you know, that kind of thing. For younger people, maybe you don't have a long time to listen. You know, kind of a younger sort of genre of style, maybe a bit more minimalist. And yeah, they'll be like for mass market, would you say? A general audience, rather.
General, yeah, more mainstream. So if you want to find out more about that, head over to barefootdoctorworld.com. And there's all your online trainings there. You've got so many, I've now lost count, but there's a lot of content to get involved in that is free, as well as what you can sign up for. But I'd love it if you would let us play one of these new tracks to finish this.
It will be my pleasure.
So thank you. So the one that you sent us, is it the motivator one?
Well, I sent you a couple of tracks of the Miracle Primer, separate ones, and then I just sent you the Motivator Primer.
Should we do that?
I like that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's 22 minutes long, so we're not going to be able to play the whole track, but we're going to certainly play as much of it as we can. Is there anything that you'd like to just leave us with the Chi vibe of Barefoot Doctor here on Chi Time?
Yeah, I'd leave you with a story of my friend Matt Fury, who's a martial arts master in America, who won. He was the first non-Chinese guy to win the annual interdisciplinary competition in China, which is really quite something. And he said to me that he shouldn't have done. I mean, the guy he was against was way better than him at that point. He said, but he got on the mat just before it started. And this is what I'm telling you, it's for the Chi. He started breathing in white light through every pore of his skin and breathing out whatever he had about himself, or any idea he had of who he was breathed out on the out breath, out through the pores of the skin. So he's breathing white light in and breathing himself out until there is nothing but white light. That's Chi, by the way, the white light. I mean, it's a way of describing shit. So he's filled with white. In fact, there is no he just is white light. So then at that point, in the state of absolute neutrality, he became the tiger. He said, I don't mean that I imagined I was a tiger. I don't mean I visualized I was a tiger. I was a tiger. And I just killed the guy, like, bang, in there. And I was done. In like, I did 1 round, 2 rounds, he won. It was like astonishing. He told it much better. But the idea that she is that powerful, if you use your mind like that, you draw white light in through every pore of your skin as you breathe, and breathe out all the story about you, all the stuff that you relate to as you, until you become empty and all there is white light. And then just visualize yourself as anything you like, really, but something of power, an animal or a being of great power who has everything, because you are and you have, and then everything comes to you. That's the magic trick. Yeah. I hope that's useful and helpful.
That's lovely. Becoming a sovereign of your light.
I love that. Becoming a sovereign of your light.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Barefoot Stephen, for being part of Chi Time once again.
It's my pleasure, Clara Tiara.
You're welcome. Keep your chi up, my friend.
I will, and you. And your back up.